Project 2025, if he is elected, I'm here because we believe in democracy. Everyone's voice matters, but I am speaking now. He intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. He intends to surrender our fight against the climate crisis, and he intends to end the Affordable Care Act. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that, otherwise I'm speaking.
That was how Kamala Harris decided to handle protesters at her rally in Detroit, Michigan, home to many, like the millions around this country who have a problem with the Democratic Party's support for the Israeli government's ongoing assault on Gaza. Those protesters there were shouting, "Kamala, Kamala, you can't hide. We won't vote for genocide." And that is how she decided to handle it. And you can sort of hear them speaking, or you can hear exactly their chants in this video here. So again, she addressed it up top, said this is about democracy, and then quickly pulled out the line that so many of us who have voiced very righteous complaints about the support for genocide have been told, which is that we simply want Donald Trump to win the election.
Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT. You power our honest reporting. You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it.
I want to continue on before I could get to you, Cenk, because a lot of the people who were there obviously were from the uncommitted block of voters in Detroit, Michigan, in Michigan writ large, a state that is absolutely needed to win the election. And it turns out that before the rally even began, Kamala Harris and Vice Presidential nominee Tim Walz did meet with some of the uncommitted voters. However, it was not a sit down. It was simply on the press line. It was a photo op, and it was not a prearranged meeting. One of the group's co-founders, Layla Elabed, clarified that she and her fellow co-founder Abbas Alawi talked to Kamala in that photo op, and this is what they said.
I said, Michigan voters right now want a way to support you, but we can't do that without a policy change that saves lives in Gaza right now. I meet with community members who are losing tens and hundreds of family members in Gaza. Will you meet with us to talk about an arms embargo? And she, nodded. She agreed. Yes, we will meet. And I understand that when she agreed to meet with me, she wasn't agreeing to an arms embargo. She was agreeing to discuss an arms embargo and discuss a policy that will save lives now in Gaza, and hopefully get us to the point where we can put our support behind VP Harris, but we can't do that without guarantees for our community that will save our family members in Palestine.
So that was an incredibly thoughtful response. Cenk, your reaction to how Kamala Harris effectively shut down, to a massive applause from the crowd, shut down the protesters who are begging her that they will not vote for genocide and to please to stop this.
Yeah, so I want to make a couple of things clear and then get to really hard questions about what should be done here. So first of all, that brief meeting that they had wasn't really a meeting. Anybody could have gone into a line to shake Kamala Harris's hand. In that brief interaction that they had, they asked for a real meeting, and Kamala Harris's team is bragging that at a later time they might consider meeting with Arab or Muslim leaders. Wow, what a big difference in policy. No, there's no difference at all, zero. If you're not cutting the funding, all the rest of it is total nonsense, just marketing, propaganda. Oh, is she going to be more stern towards Netanyahu than Biden was? What difference does it make? Are you going to keep sending them money? I mean, later in the show, we have a story of IDF soldiers charged with sexually assaulting, raping Palestinian men, and we're still sending them money. 40,000 dead, still sending them money. 3 Arab capitals attacked by Israel, we're still sending them money. So don't tell me about how you theoretically want a ceasefire. So again, we'll get to the politics of it in a sec. But in terms of the crowd, look, I know that crowd, and I know, look, people are genuinely excited at this time. I think the Tim Walz pick was great. I'm excited. I'm excited for completely different reasons. But I was never naive enough to think that they were going to actually change their policy on Palestine, and certainly not overnight. We have to put so much more pressure on them. Otherwise, they're just gonna go with the donors. I mean, don't make me say it, it's so obvious. Please, that's what I'm saying, Democrats. It doesn't mean that you, oh my God, then I gotta vote for Trump. No, Trump's worse in every count, right? But please don't be naive and think that, oh my God, I love her, so I'm sure she's gonna do all these moral things and she's not gonna care about the donors and she's gonna do what's right to save lives. That is very unlikely, okay? So the most we've gotten so far in terms of the people who want the slaughter in Gaza to end is she might meet with Arab or Muslim folks later. Meanwhile, though, after this, of course, our team puts out a statement saying, we'll never cut funding for Israel, never. We're gonna keep sending them weapons. So we'll get to that in a sec. But Francesca, on the politics of it, look, on the one hand, it's super simple. On the other hand, it's super hard. The super simple is first candidate to say, yeah, I'll stop sending Israel weapons, wins Michigan, wins probably a couple of million young voters, and probably wins the election. But I mean, then if you're unfamiliar with American politics, you might say, well, why would anybody hesitate? That's the easiest layup in the world. All you have to say is that you're against slaughter. And we helped them slaughter all those people to begin with. We're just saying no more slaughter. After this, even the IDF is saying there's nothing left to bomb in Gaza, right? The reason why it's difficult is because groups like AIPAC spend $17 million on congressional elections. The amount they might spend on this presidential election is untold. So this is as stark a divide between donors and voters as you'll ever see. And of course, both the Democratic and Republican tickets so far have chosen the donors and not the voters.
Ironic, because Netanyahu absolutely wants Trump to win re-election or be president again. But on the optics, which I think you're cutting to the meat of it, which is good. But on the optics, why did Kamala Harris have to shut the protesters down like this? She started good, okay, democracy matters, You hear what they're saying, we're not gonna vote for genocide. Say, I see you and I hear you. You said it once, just say your line again if you're so concerned about optics. But clearly this is where I think her character is being tested. Look, you're gonna get protests about this, about many, many, many other issues. How are you handling it, right? We saw Joe Biden would kind of freeze and he'd sort of let them talk, and then other people would speak up for Joe because Joe kind of he seemed like he needed help. But Kamala Harris shutting this down in such a patronizing way is a terrible look when there were a million ways to, again, to Cenk's point, optically, not politics-wise, address the real concerns. But I did want to go to what Cenk was saying, which is sadly one of Kamala Harris's advisors on her campaign, and actually an advisor on the Middle East specifically, this morning put out a tweet in response to the call for a weapons arms embargo to Israel. Phil Gordon says, the VP has been clear. She will always ensure Israel is able to defend itself against Iran and Iran-backed terrorist groups. She does not support an arms embargo in Israel. She will continue to protect civilians in Gaza to uphold international humanitarian law. Now, my heart sinks a little bit because Phil Gordon, if you don't know, was a former Obama advisor who actually did some good things, helped negotiate the Iran deal, and actually apparently was the one whispering in Kamala Harris's ear about, hey, there's a massive humanitarian crisis happening in Gaza. And here you see the line is being towed, and we're gonna get to other stories where the line's being towed. But gee, do the voters agree? Hey, Democrat, Republican, do voters agree? Should we have a weapons embargo on Israel? Does that seem kind of crazy? Does that seem really radical? No, actually not. Let's put up the poll. YouGov in March, people, months and months and months ago, 52% of all voters say that there should be a weapons embargo. 62% of Biden voters. So miss me with this is fringe. Israel is starting World War III right now. right now, Cenk, they're bombing on 3 different fronts here, but I'm gonna kick it to you on just how much work has to be done to push this candidacy.
Yeah, so first of all, let me double down on what you said about Phil Gordon. He's actually one of the better foreign policy advisors out there. And so yeah, this is disappointing, but I mean, he's given orders and then he has to follow those orders. And the orders are, we will always support Israel. I don't know that look, it's gonna sound like hyperbole to you, but I'm gonna show that it's not. I don't know that it would have made a difference if they'd killed 400,000 Palestinians rather than 40,000. Because if you say, oh, Cenk, come on, if they killed 400,000, then we'd stop the funding, would we? Because if they'd only killed 4,000, which is about 3 to 4 times as many as Hamas killed, and I told you, even if they killed 40,000, we wouldn't stop the funding. You probably would have said, oh, Cenk, that's hyperbole. Come on, they couldn't kill 25,000 women and children. And bombed 3 Arab capitals. You'd say, oh, come on, Cenk, you're being ridiculous. No, we still haven't slowed down the funding 1%. In fact, we sped it up. We sent them, normally we send $4 billion a year. That's American taxpayers apparently owe our special ally infinite money. This year, they're like, 4, no way, we'll send you 26. We love what you're doing so much, we'll send you 26 billion. So there's no good answers here. Trump is even worse on this. Kamala's otherwise good foreign policy advisors like, no, Israel above all, okay? So, and look at the facts here. Now this number is probably lower, as Francesca pointed out, but only 14% of Democratic voters want us to keep sending weapons to Israel. Only 14%. Why is she on the side of the 14%? Like, again, all regular rules of politics are suspended in America since bribery is legal. And they literally take billions in bribes in these elections. And again, I don't mean to break your heart. I'm not saying Kamala Harris is any worse than any other politicians, no. But if you think she's like a lot better than other politicians, oh, she won't take the donor money or she won't do what the donors want. And it sucks that I gotta be the messenger on that, because oftentimes people hate the messenger, but you'll see that that's all they ever do. And so, look, one more thing on this. I wanna be clear though, you don't have to hate Kamala Harris because of this, and you don't have to ignore all of the rest of our policies. Trump is worse on this, and he's a billion times worse on everything else. So for me, the choice between the two is still clear, but you please don't be extreme on either side where, okay, I'm gonna ignore everything else and I'm gonna randomly vote for Trump and make it worse. That makes no sense at all, right? And don't be extreme in saying like, no, I think she's an angel and she's the one politician who never listens to donors and she's gonna magically turn around on Israel even though she just said she won't. So don't be naive on either side. This is politics.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I'll just end it by saying also, we shouldn't shy away from disagreement, right? This is a massive tent party. AOC has said before, I think we all agree that she and Joe Biden would be in different parties were we in a different country. We had a parliamentary system and so on and so forth. Remember that some people get really, really freaked out when there's disagreements on the platform. It's okay. This is healthy. It is a democracy. It is healthy to have these disagreements. It's healthy to have to earn people's votes. And we should encourage our politicians to do that.
100%. And can I just say on that, look, unity is a mythology that has been so stamped in people's heads through mainstream media and establishment Democrats, and they never really mean it. They throw Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush under the bus the first chance they get. No, unity means obedience, right? So, but part of obedience, they say, is never dare to disagree with Democratic leaders. Why? Are we not human beings? Are we not allowed to have different opinions? Do we all now have to support the slaughter in Gaza? What an absurd thing to say. And just because you have one disagreement with a person, or even 7, doesn't mean you're not going to vote for them. At the end, it's a choice, right? You have to choose between 2 different people. But don't believe the hype that you have to obey whatever leader of your party says. Of course it's okay to disagree and still vote for them, depending on how much you agree and disagree. Don't lend out your mind to mainstream media. Make independent judgment calls.
Don't lend out your mind is I just like that. It's like, just here, you can borrow this until the election, so I don't have to think anymore.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.